Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon TCG video. Today we're going to look at the deck that won the US National Championship in the Senior Division, Empoleon, Miltank, and Dusknoir. Now this deck was piloted by Ishaan Jagiasi. He played it beautifully, and he managed to win the US National Championship. So let's take a look at this very interesting deck. There's going to be three main Pokemon we're going to look at. The first one is going to be Empoleon. This is actually a card that's been around for 3 years now, believe it or not. And it's never really been great in competitive play. It's been kind of a mediocre card, you know. It's good, it's there, but it's never really been a tournament-winning card. But now everything has changed. Let's take a look at it. The ability Diving Draw allows you to discard a card to draw 2 cards. Very good in combination with Execute, which we'll get to in a little bit, but the main reason you use it is for the attack command. Does 10 damage times the number of Pokemon in play, so this can do anywhere from 20 damage to 120 damage, depending on how big each player's bench is. It also has 140 HP, which makes it pretty difficult to knock out sometimes, and being a non-EX Pokemon only gives up 1 prize, so Empoleon is a very efficient attacker. But it is a stage 2, which makes it difficult to get into play, especially because we want a lot of them in play, because we want to keep attacking with it. Now, in the meantime, while we're setting up all these big Empoleon, we do have a nice basic Pokemon to attack with as well, and that is going to be Miltank. Powerful friends for 1 energy does 10, plus 70 if you have any stage 2 Pokemon on your bench, so this is going to do 80 damage for a single energy. This is, again, very efficient. 1 energy attack, 80 damage. Incredible. I mean, think about, if 10 years ago we would have had a card like this, it would have broken the game wide open. Nowadays, it's, it's pretty good, but, yeah, it's pretty good, just good enough to make this deck even stronger than it was before. So Miltank is kind of your backup attacker. It's kind of the glue that holds the deck together while you go ahead and set up a couple more Empoleon. So we have Miltank and Empoleon as the attackers, and then the card that makes the deck extremely strong is this Dusknoir. We have seen Dusknoir time and time again be an incredibly strong Pokemon. This ability, Sinister Hand, can manipulate the game like nothing else. It allows you to rearrange the damage counters on your opponent's board and just kind of say, you know what, I want the damage counters to go here, and let's knock out this, and let's move some damage over here, and all of a sudden, hey, I took 6 prizes. It's just extremely strong, and again, it is very good at manipulating your opponent's side of the board. So Dusknoir is a crucial part of this deck's success. So we have a 2-1-2 Dusknoir line, 4-1-4 Empoleon, and then 3 Miltank as well. Just, honestly, not a very complicated deck, but there are a lot of pieces here, and we need all of them to make the deck work. Now, we do have a couple of support Pokemon here as well. The first one is Execute, like I mentioned earlier. Execute's only purpose is to be discarded over and over and over. So if it's in your discard pile, you can take it out. This has incredible synergy with Diving Draw, since you just discard Execute. And now all of a sudden, instead of having to discard something useful every time we use Diving Draw, now we just get to draw 2 cards for free every time, basically. So that makes Diving Draw so much better. And it's also good with a card like Ultra Ball, where you have to discard 2 cards, and a card like Dowsing Machine, where you also have to discard 2 cards. Instead of having to discard all these crucial cards over the course of the game, instead we can just use Execute. And it may seem silly to just run a Pokemon to discard it over and over, but it actually works very well. Our last Pokemon is going to be Jirachi EX, just a nice support Pokemon. Stellar Guidance allows us to search for a supporter card. This makes your deck much more consistent, since we do run a lot of ways to search for Pokemon. 2 Level Ball can get those Jirachi, or anything else with 90 HP or less, and again, those Ultra Ball can search for any Pokemon. So now we have these 5 searching cards, can also turn into Jirachi EX, which turns into a supporter. So you can imagine that just makes your deck that much more consistent at setting up. Alright? Let's take a look at our supporters next. We have 4 N and 4 Skyla, then 3 Professor Juniper, 2 Colrus, and then 2 Tropical Beach as well. So this is going to be a very consistent lineup. I keep saying that word consistent. You need to be able to draw cards quickly with this kind of a deck to get Stage 2 Pokemon into play. So you need lots of supporters, lots of ways to draw cards. Tropical Beach is pretty crucial for that as well. And you can see we have a high amount of ways to search for what we need. The last supporter is going to be Lysander. Just a nice way to grab something off your opponent's bench if you need to. Alright, so other cards we have. 4 Rare Candy just allows us to skip from a basic to a Stage 2. This card has been around for 10 years now. It just seems like a staple of the Pokemon TCG. It just speeds up your Stage 2 Pokemon so much. Don't have to evolve through the Stage 1. That's why we rarely ever see a lot of Stage 1 Pokemon in these Stage 2 decks, just because of how strong Rare Candy is. To skip right to that Stage 2, it's really what makes the Stage 2 decks work. Alright, other cards we have. 2 Startling Megaphone. This is very good against Garbodor. We can shut off that Garbotoxin ability to regain our own abilities, since we do need them quite a bit. Diving Draw and Sinister Hand are very crucial, and Propagation's pretty useful as well. So Startling Megaphone is great against Garbodor, also very good in general against decks that run a lot of those Muscle Bands, which we can discard, because without Muscle Band, it's very difficult to knock out Empoleon in one hit, to be completely honest. Speaking of Muscle Band, we run 3 of them since it is such a good card. Just adds 20 damage to your attacks, and we need every extra bit of damage we can get with this kind of a deck. As great as Attack Command is, your opponent can limit the amount of damage you do if they just don't bench a lot of Pokemon, so it is something to watch out for. Muscle Band allows us to hit for that little bit extra, and that ends up being the difference quite a bit. So now we've looked at just about everything. We do have 2 Switch. We do need 2 Switch in this kind of a deck, mainly because of Dusknoir. It is a big target with its 3 retreat cost. Sometimes it can be stuck in the active spot, so we need a couple switching cards to get it out of there. And 2 Super Rod, very cool card as well, just to recover whatever we need, right? We can get Empoleon, it can get Miltank, it can get, a Dusknoir, a Duskull that got discarded or knocked out. Super Rod is very good in this kind of a deck, especially because we also only run 6 Water Energy. That seems very low, but with those 2 Super Rod, it ends up working out just fine. So here it is, the deck that won the U.S. National Championship in the Senior Division. Empoleon, Miltank, and Dusknoir. It is a deck I have covered before, but it's cool to take a look at an actual tournament-winning deck list. So let's see Empoleon in action, see how this deck runs. Alright, so we are going up against Weapon X21. Looks like I will have a mulligan, and 1 more mulligan, and 1 more mulligan, and finally a Piplup. So we're starting off with that Piplup. That is probably the preferred starter. Actually, I would say Miltank is probably your preferred starter. Just a nice lead-off Pokemon, and that way you can get your little basics on the bench. Give them a turn to evolve. But we're starting off with Piplup, so we'll take what we can get. Now, we are going up against a Virizion Genesect deck. So this can be very scary to play against when you're playing second. I mean, it's a lot different when you're playing first. We could have a turn to evolve. Don't have to worry about Piplup getting knocked out too quickly. But in this situation, it's going to be pretty scary. Right, our Piplup is indeed in danger. I will go ahead and Skyla here for a level ball. And this can get any number of things. I think I'm going to go right for the Execute. That way, the Ultra Ball is a little easier to play. So we'll go ahead and Ultra Ball, discarding Execute and Dusknoir. And then after that, we can Ultra Ball again, Propagation to bring the Execute out of the discard pile. Basically, I want to get a Miltank out right now. I also want to retreat to it. Well, actually, I can just put the energy on the Miltank. That's fine too. And let's go ahead and Ultra Ball for a second Piplup. This is fine. And then Tropical Beach for a fresh 7 cards. not bad, you know. Playing out your hand and then drawing 7 cards, that's pretty good in my book. Alright, so the Piplup is in danger of being knocked out. Maybe retreating into Miltank would have been a better plan there. That way, if we see a Muscle Band or Hypnotoxic Laser, we won't have to worry about it. I mean, we get knocked out by Virizion EX's Emerald Slash. That would be a pretty big blow here, giving up a prize on the second turn. So, I don't know. It's strange. Sometimes you think, you know, there's only 6 energy in the deck. Oh, as we see a blank card come out. I have no idea what that is. Oh, okay, a Roselia. Yeah, sometimes, you know, you only have 6 energy, so you want to use them wisely, you know, put the energy on your attacker. At the same time, you'd like to retreat. But, I don't know. I guess that's a decision you can make on your own. Alright, so we do have an Emerald Slash knocking out Piplup after that Colress machine onto the Genesect EX on the bench. So this is a very threatening situation. Virizion EX powers up a Genesect, and we're left not in a great spot. We don't have any rare candy in hand or even Empoleon. If we had one or the other, we could Skyla for that missing piece and go from there, but no, looks like we do not have that. May just have to try to N or Colress here and hope to draw a rare candy and an Empoleon. I'm not sure which one is better here. I think I might just go for Colress because my opponent only has 5 cards anyway. I don't know. I guess we're just going to go for it. Let's put the Muscle Band onto Miltank, and alright, huge draw off of that N. Got the rare candy and the Empoleon. Going to go ahead and Propagation, Diving, draw 2 more cards there. And okay, so we responded very well with a turn 2 Powerful Friends for 100 damage, putting on some major pressure right there. So the big thing is getting the damage into play. Now, the bad thing is, boy, we didn't get a whole lot of other Pokemon down. I would have liked to get another Miltank into play, maybe another Piplup into play. That would have been very nice, but, you know, I can't really complain getting the Stage 2 into play, but we really need some more Pokemon immediately. Right, that Genesect can come out right away and use Megalo Cannon, start putting on the pressure and taking knockouts, and I don't know, we could easily see Empoleon go down next turn. So I really need to start getting some more Pokemon into play. That hand is not the greatest. We will have a Diving draw and a card for the turn, so hopefully we can draw something good off of that. But things are not looking pretty right now. We're down 2 prizes. Not exactly what I wanted to top deck for the turn. I'm going to go ahead and Propagation, Diving, draw 2 cards here. And I do get the Miltank. I can switch into that and then do another Muscle Band and Powerful Friends if need be. And, you know, that was probably the best thing I could have hoped for there. I am going to drop down that Muscle Band just to hit for a little bit more damage. And hopefully we can get Dusknoir in play pretty soon. But the big thing there was to conserve that Empoleon, right? We need a Stage 2 in play for Powerful Friends to do extra damage. Also, I like to have Empoleon for Diving draw since my hand is pretty bad at the moment. So, that was really the best case scenario. Getting the Miltank up there. Sure, it's an easy knockout for my opponent, but we get more damage in play. And that's the big thing. Get more damage in play. Keep Empoleon alive. That's the major thing. So there is another Megalo Cannon. You can see just how much pressure we are under. That's the difference between going first and second with a Stage 2 deck. Kind of scary when you think about it. But I'm going to go ahead with a Super Rod here, shuffle in 2 Miltank and a Piplup just to get more basics in the deck. I need to draw more basics right now. And I do hit an Ultra Ball, so that's pretty nice. I'm going to have to decide what I want to grab with that. Now I have an Ultra Ball, going to discard the Execute once again, and Tropical Beach. I could just grab a single basic Pokemon, but Jirachi EX looks pretty tempting here. Just grabbing a basic Pokemon may not be the best bet. So I may have to take a big risk here and just go with the Jirachi. I will have a rare candy and a Dusknoir, so I could Sinister Hand, move some damage around. I'm almost certainly going to knock out this active Genesect EX with Attack Command this turn. So this may be a good opportunity to play an N and put my opponent down to a low hand size. So let's go ahead with that Stellar Guidance, search for an N. It's a little bit risky to put down a Jirachi EX right here. My opponent's already down to 3 prizes. We could easily see that red signal bring out the Jirachi for final 2 prizes a little later. But, you know, that's just a risk I am willing to take at this point. So here we're going to go with the Sinister Hand. I wish they would fix this on Pokemon TCG Online to make it a little more manageable, you know. Not make it take 5 minutes every time you want to move, you know, 100 damage, but we'll have to do it click by click. Let's count the clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That moved 10 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves 5 clicks to move 10 damage. That's not very good. Anyway, let's go ahead and Propagation again. Use that Dowsing Machine to get a level ball for a Piplup, just to get another one into play so we can have another Empoleon for the following turn. And I probably should knock out this Genesect here, so got to backtrack here and move some damage back onto the Genesect. My bad. But yeah, we'll continue the Sinister Handing. I do have to do 100 damage will be a knockout, so that's what we're going to go with here. Leave that active with 100 HP. I'm also going to leave the benched one with 100 HP, and we're going to spread some damage around just in case of a max potion. I just want to make sure, you know, I have the damage all spread out, reducing the effectiveness of a max potion. I don't care if my opponent max potions off a Genesect with 2 energy on it. That's a win in my book. So now we have the damage all spread out, and here we go. Attack Command for 100, and we finally taken our first 2 prizes of the game. We are still down a prize, believe it or not, but hey, we have a good chance of winning at this point. Okay, we've taken some good position here. All right, we took down that first Genesect. My opponent only has 2 energy. On the active, he'll need to attach a 3rd one to start attacking this turn, and then it's just 1 energy on that benched Virizion EX. So not the greatest board position for my opponent. Could be problematic at some point, but hey, we'll see. We see a level ball for another blank card. I assume that's a Roserade. So Le Parfum will allow my opponent to search for any card here. This is very scary. We could see like a Plasma Energy for a red signal. Could target down Jirachi EX, and my opponent could go down to just a single prize. Looks like today's tournament tests have concluded. Darn. Alright, so we'll have to see which card my opponent wants to take with Le Parfum. I guess we don't really get to see, but we'll see what my opponent plays down after this. There it is, the Plasma Energy. Red signal can grab something off my bench. What is it going to be? Looks like Dusknoir. That's pretty annoying. It'll take away my Sinister Hand. Uh-oh. And there's a Skyla for the G-Booster. So he actually is going to G-Booster that Dusknoir, saying, you know what? I want to get rid of this right now. There it is, 200 damage. Now, that is actually very annoying because I did spread out that damage, and now there's no way for me to move it back to where I need it to go. So that is a big, big downside right now. But on the bright side, we should be able to knock out this Genesect this turn. If I can just get 2 benched Pokemon, I can easily attack command for the knockout, and then my opponent's just left with a Virizion EX with a single energy on it. So that works for me. 2 diving draw, end up with 2 benched Pokemon. So we got another Duskull and another Miltank onto the bench. Things are starting to look very good right now. I'm going to go with a Skyla here. Not really sure what to take. I could take an N, could take a Super Rod. I do have both Dusknoir in the discard pile at this point, so that's pretty annoying. I would say my 2 options are probably N and Super Rod. Nothing else really seems to make sense at this point. So after taking a look through the deck, I would say Super Rod is probably the way to go. We'll go ahead and shuffle in Dusknoir, and I could do Duskull or a Water Energy. I'm going to go with the Duskull, I guess, just to make sure I get Dusknoir in play. That's the big thing. If I get it in play, I feel like I pretty much win. Maybe shuffling in a Water would have been a little better, but no, I'm just going to go with the entire Dusknoir line, and now we're tied at 2 prizes apiece. Boy, how did that happen? We were down 3 prizes, and then all of a sudden we come roaring back with that damage we had in play. But there is a hypnotoxic laser that's going to be very annoying. Puts me to sleep. If I do stay asleep, that could be a game-changing flip. Uh-oh. And nobody likes to lose that way. That has to be the worst way in the world to lose, staying asleep on those hypnotoxic lasers. That is just so lame. So let's hope Empoleon wakes up after this turn, and then we can attack command and everything will be just fine. We do have that switch in hand in case we do stay asleep, but it starts to get a little dangerous, you know, with red signal around. I have 1 switch in the discard pile already, along with the dowsing machine. So we can see right there, switch and dowsing. So that's my last switching card, and oh no, stayed asleep. Also running low on water energy. I have exactly 2 left. So that hypnotoxic laser flip, absolutely huge. I'm going to try to diving draw here, see if we can hit an N, and we did manage to get one. So this is going to be a little tricky to close out the game here. Dusknoir, as we see, does have a 2 retreat cost, but you know, things are going to work out just fine. I can switch here to my other Empoleon and then evolve into Dusknoir. Basically, I'm worried about being trapped in the active spot and losing by decking out or something like that. But we have 2 energy left, which is exactly enough. So I'll switch into Empoleon. We'll evolve to Dusknoir. I'm actually going to put the water energy onto Dusknoir. That way, if it gets brought out by a red signal, I can attach again, retreat, and just attack for the game. If Miltank gets brought up, I attack with Miltank. If Jirachi gets brought up, I retreat. So that 1 energy left is going to be all of the difference. But if my opponent played something like Crushing Hammer, I would cry. Crushing Hammer and then a red signal on Dusknoir. Okay, that would get me. I'll give him that one. But after that N, we do attack command for enough damage to put pressure on my opponent. And at this point, you know, with Dusknoir's Sinister Hand, if any Pokemon EX comes out, all we have to do is get Dusknoir out, move the damage to the active, and we should be able to get a knockout. Genesect does come down, so let's see if we see any red signal shenanigans. That's kind of what I'm worried about at this point, but we do have that energy to kind of sit back on, and you can see just kind of how we managed to come back here. We were under tons of pressure, fell down a bunch of prizes, but we stabilized pretty well, drew pretty well over the course of this game, and even though we went second, we were able to mount a big comeback here. Normally, those Virizion Genesect decks need to use Emerald Slash twice to power up 2 different Genesects, otherwise this kind of a situation can happen where they start to fizzle out and run out of energy in play after you knock out the first 1 or 2 Genesect. They're just left with not enough energy in play. We do see that Shadow Triad though, and it looks like it went for a Plasma Energy. So we'll have to see what will it go for. I mean, obviously it seems like my opponent's going to go for a red signal, but what will my opponent bring out? And there it is, the Plasma Energy onto Genesect. I would say the thing that would make the most sense is Jirachi EX. You know, if I don't have an energy this turn, my opponent could just attack it twice. That's the 2 prizes, and that is game over. So, and energy is going to allow me to attack with Miltank, and energy allows me to retreat to Dusknoir. So my opponent makes the correct decision here, bringing out Jirachi EX and just kind of hoping I don't have the energy. Or if I do have the energy, hoping I don't have the Dusknoir as well. There's a Tool Scrapper. Getting rid of the Muscle Band. And here we go, Emerald Slash for 50. And now it's just whether or not I have the energy to retreat. And what do you know? I do. As we have known for a long time. And also top decking the Lysander will be the game right here. We can go ahead and Lysander out that Virizion EX that's damaged on the bench. Don't even have to use Diving Draw. You know, with 4 extra cards, we probably would have drawn into a Dusknoir or Lysander. But hey, I will accept top decking it right there, and there we go, victory for our Empoleon Miltank Dusknoir deck, making a big comeback there, showing some great resilience. So there we go. This is, again, the deck that won the U.S. National Championship in the senior division. We saw Landorus, Raichu, Garbodor, Mewtwo in the Masters division. We have Empoleon, Miltank in the seniors division. And I'll cover the juniors division winner as well in the next video. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.